The stars looked different today. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching the dark space around him. His ship was small compared to the big warships back near Earth, but it was fast and well-armed. For 3 years, he had been patrolling the outer edges of the solar system, looking for anything that did not belong there. "Captain, we have something strange on the sensors," said his communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Davis. She was young but smart, and Jake trusted her judgment completely. Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of strange?" "It looks like a ship, sir. But it is not one of ours. The design is completely different from anything in our database." Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "It is big, maybe twice the size of our ship. It is coming straight toward us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was the moment every captain in the Earth Defense Fleet had been waiting for and dreading at the same time. First contact with an alien species. "Send an alert to Earth Command." "Immediately," Jake ordered. "Tell them we have possible first contact situation. Then put the ship on yellow alert, but do not power up weapons yet. We do not want to seem hostile." The bridge crew moved quickly to follow his orders. Jake had trained for this moment, but now that it was happening, everything felt different. Real. Far away on Luna Station, Admiral Patricia Rodriguez received the message while drinking her morning coffee. She had been expecting this day for years. Earth's long-range sensors had been picking up strange signals from deep space for months. Now it seemed like someone was finally coming to visit. "Get me a direct line to Captain Morrison," she told her aide, Commander Pete Johnson. "And wake up the entire Defense Council. Tell them this is not a drill." Admiral Rodriguez had gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had been in charge of Earth's space defenses for 10 years, and she knew that first contact could go very well or very badly. Everything depended on who these visitors were and what they wanted. Meanwhile, aboard the alien ship called Harmony of Stars, Commander Veltar was studying the small human vessel on his main screen. The ship looked primitive to him, with simple hull plating and basic weapon systems that seemed almost crude compared to Zephyrian technology. "Look at that little ship," he said to his second-in-command, Officer Nimra. "Their technology is so basic. No energy shields, no plasma weapons, no faster-than-light communications. They are barely out of their home system." Nimra nodded. "The humans seem to be exactly what we expected, Commander. A young species just learning to travel between planets. They will be grateful for our guidance." Commander Veltar smiled. The Zephyrian Confederation had made contact with dozens of primitive species over the centuries. The pattern was always the same. The younger races were amazed by superior technology, eager to learn, and happy to accept Zephyrian leadership in exchange for advanced knowledge. "Open a communication channel," Veltar ordered. "Let us introduce ourselves to these humans." Back on the USS Liberty, Amy Davis suddenly looked up from her station. "Captain, they are sending us a message. It is in perfect English." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Perfect English?" "Yes, sir. They must have been listening to our radio and television signals for years. The message is coming through now." A new voice filled the bridge, speaking in a smooth, slightly musical tone. "Greetings, humans of the vessel Liberty. I am Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Confederation ship Harmony of Stars. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic contact with your species. We have traveled far to meet you and offer the hand of friendship." Jake took a deep breath. This was it. "Open a channel, Amy." "Channel open, sir." "Commander Veltar, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. Welcome to our solar system. We are honored by your visit and eager to learn more about your people." There was a pause, then Veltar's voice came back, sounding pleased. "Excellent, Captain Morrison. We request permission to approach your home world for formal diplomatic contact. We have much to offer your people, including advanced technology that will help your species grow and prosper. Jake could hear the confidence in the alien's voice, almost like he was talking to a child. It made Jake a little uncomfortable, but he kept his voice friendly and professional. "I will need to check with my superiors, Commander. Please hold your position while I contact Earth Command." "Of course, Captain. We understand your caution. While you contact your leaders, perhaps you would like to see a demonstration of our peaceful intentions." Before Jake could answer, the alien ship began to glow with a soft blue light. Energy shields flickered around its hull, and small weapon ports opened to reveal gleaming plasma cannons. But the weapons stayed powered down, clearly meant as a show of good faith rather than a threat. "Impressive technology," Jake said honestly. The alien ship was beautiful and obviously very advanced. "This is just a small sample of what we can share with your people," Veltar replied. "We have faster-than-light travel, medical technology that can cure any disease, and energy systems that will solve all your power needs forever." Jake nodded, though he knew the alien could not see him. "I will relay your message to Earth Command." "Commander, please stand by." He turned to Amy. "Get me Admiral Rodriguez immediately." While Jake waited for the connection, he studied the alien ship on his main screen. It was elegant and powerful, clearly built by a civilization far more advanced than Earth. But something about Commander Veltar's tone bothered him. The alien sounded friendly enough, but there was something underneath, like he was talking down to them. Jake pushed the thought away. Maybe he was just being paranoid. After all, these aliens had traveled across space to make peaceful contact. That had to count for something. The communication panel lit up with Admiral Rodriguez's face. "Captain Morrison, report. Admiral, we have confirmed first contact with an alien species calling themselves the Zephyrian Confederation. They are requesting permission to approach Earth for diplomatic talks. They seem peaceful and claim to have advanced technology to share with us." Admiral Rodriguez studied the alien ship on her own screens. Like Jake, she was impressed by its obvious sophistication, but something in her experienced military mind was sending up small warning flags. "Very well, Captain. Escort them to Earth orbit, but maintain a safe distance. And Captain?" "Yes, Admiral? Keep your eyes open. Sometimes the most dangerous visitors are the ones who seem the most helpful." 3 days later, the Harmony of Stars arrived at New Geneva Station, Earth's largest space platform. The station hung in orbit above Earth like a giant wheel, its metal arms spinning slowly to create gravity for the thousands of people who lived and worked there. Captain Lisa Chun stood in the main docking bay, watching through the large windows as the alien ship approached. She had been chosen to welcome the aliens because she spoke 7 languages and had years of diplomatic training. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. "They are requesting permission to dock," said her communications officer, Lieutenant Bobby Turner. "Granted," Lisa replied. "Make sure all security teams are in position, but keep weapons hidden. We want to look friendly but ready." The alien ship moved with perfect grace, sliding into the docking bay without making a sound. Up close, it was even more beautiful than the videos had shown. The hull seemed to be made of some kind of living metal that shifted colors in the light, and there were no visible seams or bolts anywhere. "Docking complete," Bobby announced. "They are requesting permission to come aboard." "Tell them we are ready to receive them," Lisa said. She smoothed down her dress uniform and walked to the airlock with her honor guard. The airlock door opened with a soft hiss, and the first alien stepped through. Commander Veltar was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. He wore a uniform that seemed to be made of the same shifting material as his ship. Behind him came 5 other aliens, including Ambassador Kethron, who was even taller and moved with obvious authority. "Captain Chun," Ambassador Kethron said in perfect English, his voice carrying the same musical quality they had heard on the radio. "We are honored to be here. This is a great day for both our peoples." Lisa stepped forward and offered her hand in the traditional human greeting. The ambassador took it carefully, his long fingers cool against her skin. "Welcome to New Geneva Station, Ambassador. We are excited to learn about your civilization and to begin friendship between our worlds." Ambassador Kethran smiled, showing teeth that were perfectly white and slightly pointed. "Your enthusiasm is wonderful to see. We have brought gifts to show our good intentions." The aliens carried several small boxes made of the same shifting metal as their ship. Ambassador Kethran opened the first box and pulled out a device that looked like a flat crystal panel. "This is a medical scanner," he explained. "It can diagnose any illness or injury instantly, without any pain or discomfort to the patient. Your doctors will find it very useful." Lisa took the device and turned it over in her hands. It was incredibly light and seemed to hum with internal energy. "This is amazing. How does it work?" "Quantum resonance scanning," the ambassador said, casually, as if he were explaining how to tie shoes. "Very simple technology, really. We have been using devices like this for over 1,000 years." The second box contained what looked like a small silver badge. "This is a personal shield generator," Ambassador Kethran continued. "It will protect the wearer from any energy weapon or physical attack. Very useful for your security forces." He demonstrated by having one of his crew members fire a small energy beam at him. The beam hit an invisible barrier around the ambassador and scattered harmlessly in all directions. "Incredible," Lisa said, though she noticed that her security chief, Commander Rick Stone, did not look as impressed as she expected. He was studying the shield device with the careful attention of a man who spent his life thinking about weapons and defense. The third gift was a communication device that the ambassador claimed could send messages faster than light across unlimited distances. "With this, you will be able to talk to colonies on other worlds instantly, no matter how far away they are." Lisa accepted each gift gracefully, but she could not shake the feeling that the aliens were showing off more than sharing. Every time they explained something, they mentioned how old and simple the technology was to them, or how long they had been using it. "These gifts are wonderful," Lisa said. "We are very grateful for your generosity." "Think nothing of it," Ambassador Kethran replied with a wave of his hand. "These are basic items that any civilized species should have. We have much more advanced technology that we can share once our peoples know each other better." Commander Veltar stepped forward. "Perhaps you would like to see our ship's capabilities? We would be happy to demonstrate how we maintain peace in our part of the galaxy." Lisa nodded. "We would be honored." They moved to the station's main observation deck, where large windows gave a clear view of space. The harmony of stars undocked from the station and moved to a safe distance. "Watch carefully," Ambassador Kethran said. The alien ship suddenly blazed with light as its energy shields activated. The shields were not invisible like the personal ones the ambassador had shown them. Instead, they glowed with beautiful colors that shifted and flowed like water. "Our shields can stop any attack," Commander Veltar explained. "Energy weapons, missiles, even ramming attacks from other ships. Nothing can get through them." Next, weapon ports opened along the ship's hull, and gleaming plasma cannons extended into firing position. The weapons did not fire, but they glowed, with barely contained energy that made the space around them shimmer with heat. "These plasma cannons can destroy a ship like yours with a single shot," the commander continued. "But do not worry. We only use them to defend ourselves and protect weaker species from those who would harm them." Lisa felt a chill at the word weaker, but she kept her expression neutral. The final demonstration was the most impressive. The harmony of stars simply vanished. One moment it was there, and the next it was gone completely. "Where did it go?" asked Lieutenant Turner, ambassador. Kethran smiled. "It jumped to faster than light speed and will return in a moment from the other side of your solar system." Sure enough, the ship reappeared exactly where it had been, as if it had never left. Faster-than-light travel allows us to cross vast distances in no time at all, the ambassador explained. This is how we maintain our confederation across 17 star systems. We can respond to any crisis or threat immediately. Lisa and her crew watched the demonstrations with appropriate amazement, but something was bothering her. The aliens seemed to expect them to be more impressed, more grateful, more in awe of the technology they were seeing. Instead, the humans were polite and interested, but not overwhelmed. This seemed to confuse the aliens slightly. "Your people are remarkably calm," Commander Veltar observed. "Most species are quite excited when they first see our technology." "We are excited," Lisa assured him. "But humans have learned to think carefully before reacting. We prefer to understand something before we get too enthusiastic about it." Ambassador Kethran nodded approvingly. "Wisdom is good. But you should understand that the Zephyrian Confederation represents the most advanced civilization in this part of the galaxy. We have brought peace and prosperity to many worlds through our superior technology and knowledge." Lisa smiled politely, but inside she was thinking about something her grandmother used to say: "The loudest person in the room is usually the most insecure." "We look forward to learning more about your confederation," she said diplomatically. As the aliens continued their demonstrations, Lisa noticed that Commander Stone was taking careful notes on everything they showed. He was also asking very specific technical questions that seemed to surprise the aliens. "How much energy do your shields require?" he asked. "What is the recharge time for your plasma weapons? How long can your ship maintain faster than light speed?" The aliens answered his questions, but Lisa could see they were puzzled by his focus on technical details rather than general amazement. What they did not know was that Commander Stone was not just taking notes for scientific interest. He was gathering intelligence, analyzing weaknesses, and thinking like the military professional he was. Because while the aliens were busy showing off their superior technology, they were also revealing exactly how it worked and what its limitations might be. And somewhere in the back of Lisa's mind, she was starting to wonder if these friendly aliens were quite as harmless as they claimed to be. Admiral Rodriguez stood in her office on Luna Station, looking at the reports from New Geneva Station. The first day of contact had gone well, but something in the aliens' behavior made her uneasy. They were too confident, too sure that humans would be grateful for their help. "Send a message to Ambassador Kethran," she told Commander Johnson. "Invite their delegation to tour some of our facilities. Tell them we want to show our openness and trust." Commander Johnson looked surprised. "Admiral, are you sure that's wise? We've always kept our military installations secret." Admiral Rodriguez smiled grimly. "Not all of them, Pete. Just the ones we want them to see." 2 hours later, Colonel Danny Harper received his orders. He was to guide the alien delegation on a tour of Earth's primary defense systems. The colonel was a short, stocky man with graying hair and 30 years of military experience. He knew exactly which facilities to show and which ones to keep hidden. The tour began at Earth's main missile defense center, buried deep under the mountains of Colorado. Ambassador Kethran and Commander Veltar followed Colonel Harper through the command center, watching human technicians track thousands of objects in Earth's orbit. "This is our planetary defense system," Colonel Harper explained. "We use it to track and destroy any asteroids or debris that might threaten Earth." The aliens studied the displays with mild interest. The human system looked efficient enough, but it was clearly designed to handle natural threats rather than military ones. "Very practical," Ambassador Kethran said politely. "Though I notice your weapons are all kinetic missiles rather than energy-based. Have you not developed plasma or laser technology yet?" "We have some laser systems," Colonel Harper replied. "But we find missiles to be reliable and cost-effective for most situations." Commander Veltar exchanged a look with his aide. Kinetic weapons were what most primitive species used before they learned to harness pure energy. It confirmed what they already believed about human technology levels. The next stop was the Satellite Control Center in California. Here, hundreds of technicians monitored Earth's communication and surveillance satellites. The aliens were shown displays of weather monitoring, GPS navigation, and communication networks. Impressive organization, Commander Veltar admitted. Your species has learned to work together efficiently. That will serve you well when you join the galactic community. Colonel Harper nodded politely, but inside he was annoyed by the aliens' tone. The commander talked like he was praising a child for tying their shoes correctly. During the satellite tour, the aliens' own sensors picked up some unusual readings from the outer solar system. Their instruments detected energy signatures that seemed too strong and too organized to be natural phenomena. What are those energy readings? Officer Nimra asked quietly in their own language. Commander Veltar glanced at his portable scanner. Probably interference from the human satellites. These primitive systems often produce electromagnetic noise. Ambassador Kethran agreed. Yes, I've seen similar readings around other developing worlds. Nothing to concern ourselves with. They dismissed the strange readings without further investigation. After all, what could a species that still used kinetic missiles possibly have? Hidden in the outer darkness of their own solar system. The tour continued to several more installations. The aliens saw radar stations, communication arrays, and even a few small orbital defense platforms around Earth's moon. Everything they saw confirmed their initial assessment. Humans were an organized and determined species, but their technology was at least 500 years behind Zephyrian standards. Your people have made remarkable progress for such a young civilization, Ambassador Kethran said as they concluded the tour. With our guidance and technology, you could advance centuries in just a few decades. Colonel Harper smiled tightly. That's very generous of you, Ambassador. I'm sure our leaders will be interested in discussing future cooperation. What the aliens did not know was that everything they had seen was carefully chosen. The missile defense system was real, but it was only the inner layer of Earth's defenses. The satellites they had observed were functional, but they were the civilian systems, not the military ones. And those energy readings their sensors had detected? Those were exactly what Colonel Harper had hoped they would notice and then ignore. Back on the USS Liberty, Captain Morrison was still escorting alien ships at the edge of the solar system. Several more Zephyrian vessels had arrived over the past few days, all claiming to be diplomatic support ships. Captain, I'm getting some strange readings, Lieutenant Davis reported. Those new alien ships are running active scans of our outer system defenses, Morrison frowned. What kind of scans? Military-grade sensor sweeps, sir. They're mapping asteroid positions, checking for hidden installations, looking for any kind of defensive structures. Morrison felt his stomach tighten. Are they finding anything? Lieutenant Davis smiled slightly. Nothing they shouldn't find, sir. Just rocks and ice, as far as their scans can tell. Morrison nodded approvingly. Earth's outer defenses were designed to look like natural objects until they powered up. The aliens could scan all they wanted, and would see nothing but asteroids and comets. Meanwhile, back on Luna Station, Admiral Rodriguez was studying the reports from Colonel Harper's tour. The aliens had behaved exactly as expected, showing polite interest in human primitive technology while clearly believing they were dealing with a backward species. They're getting comfortable, she told Commander Johnson. Too comfortable. They think they understand us. Is that good or bad, Admiral? It depends on what they're really here for, Rodriguez replied. If they're genuinely peaceful, then it doesn't matter what they think of our technology. But if they have other plans. Her voice trailed off as she stared at the tactical display, showing all known alien positions in the solar system. There were now 12 Zephyrian ships in Earth space, all claiming to be diplomatic vessels. But 12 ships seemed like a lot for a simple first contact mission. Far out in the asteroid belt, something that looked like an ordinary chunk of space. Rock quietly recorded the conversation taking place on one of the alien ships. Commander Veltar was speaking to his fleet commander via secure communication. The humans are exactly what we expected. Their technology is primitive, their defenses are minimal, and they seem eager to accept our guidance. Phase 2 can proceed as planned. The fleet commander's voice came back clearly. Excellent news, Commander. Are you certain they pose no threat to our operations? Absolutely certain, Veltar replied. They have nothing that could challenge even one of our ships, let alone the full fleet. Their weapons are kinetic projectiles, their shields are non-existent, and their fastest ships are slower than our cargo vessels. Good. The High Council will be pleased. A species this primitive should be grateful for the protection we can offer them, and the resources of this system will be very useful to the Confederation. The conversation continued for several more minutes, with the aliens discussing their plans for integrating humanity into their Confederation. They talked about mining rights, trade agreements, and the gradual introduction of human workers into Zephyrian industries. Everything they said was recorded by the listening device hidden in the fake asteroid. And every word was transmitted instantly to Admiral Rodriguez on Luna Station. When she finished listening to the recording, Admiral Rodriguez sat back in her chair and smiled coldly. So the aliens were not just here for friendly contact after all. They were here to take over, and they thought it would be easy because humans were too primitive to resist. Commander Johnson, she said quietly. Yes, Admiral? Send a message to all fleet commanders. Operation Silent Thunder is now active. All ships are to remain hidden but prepare for immediate deployment on my command. Yes, ma'am. Should I alert the orbital defense platforms as well? Everything. Pete, wake up everything. Our new friends are about to learn that humans are not as primitive as they look. Outside, in the darkness between the worlds, dozens of objects that had been drifting silently through space for years began to power up their systems. Weapons that had been sleeping in the cold vacuum started to warm up. Ships that had been hiding in the shadows of moons and asteroids began to check their equipment. The Zephyrians had made a critical mistake. They had assumed that a species still using kinetic weapons could not possibly have anything dangerous hidden in the darkness of their own solar system. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The alarm came at dawn on the fourth day. Long-range sensors detected 30 more Zephyrian ships jumping into the outer solar system. Unlike the previous vessels, these made no attempt to hide what they were. They were clearly warships, bristling with weapons and moving in military formation. Admiral Rodriguez stood in the Luna Station Command Center, watching the tactical display as the alien fleet approached. Ambassador Kethran was still aboard New Geneva Station with the diplomatic team, but now his real purpose was becoming clear. Open a channel to New Geneva, she ordered. I want to talk to our alien friends. Captain Chun appeared on the main screen, with Ambassador Kethran standing beside her looking calm and confident. Admiral, the ambassador said before she could speak, I hope you are not alarmed by the arrival of our escort fleet. These are standard security vessels, here to establish a permanent diplomatic presence in your system. Admiral Rodriguez kept her voice level and professional. Ambassador, 30 warships is hardly a standard diplomatic escort. I'm afraid I cannot allow armed vessels to proceed past the outer system boundary. Ambassador Kethran's expression shifted slightly. For the first time since arriving, he looked mildly annoyed rather than patient and condescending. Admiral, I think you misunderstand the situation. These ships are here for your protection as much as ours. There are dangerous forces in the galaxy, and humanity needs the security that only the Zephyrian Confederation can provide. I appreciate your concern, Rodriguez replied, but Earth can handle its own security. Your fleet will remain at its current position or leave the system entirely. Commander Veltar stepped forward, his polite mask finally slipping. Admiral Rodriguez, I believe you are not fully grasping the reality of your situation. Your species has kinetic missiles and chemical rockets. We have plasma weapons and faster-than-light travel. Resistance would be both pointless and potentially harmful to your people. Admiral Rodriguez smiled coldly. Commander, I think you are the one who does not understand the situation. She turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant, give me a direct channel to Colonel Harper. Colonel Harper's voice came through clearly from his position in the Colorado Command Center. Yes, Admiral? Colonel, our guests seem to think we cannot defend ourselves. Perhaps it's time we showed them what they have been missing. Understood, Admiral. Initiating full system reveal now. Across the solar system, things that had been invisible suddenly became visible. What the aliens had dismissed as asteroids and space debris began to power up, revealing themselves as massive defense platforms. Each one was the size of a city block and covered in weapons that made the Zephyrian plasma cannons look like toys. The first platform to fully activate was Fortress Alpha, hidden in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Its hull blazed with light as energy shields activated and weapon systems came online. Dozens of missile tubes opened, each one capable of launching warheads that could crack a moon in half. What is that? Commander Veltar gasped, staring at his sensor displays. That, Admiral Rodriguez said calmly, is just the beginning. Fortress Beta powered up near Saturn, followed by Fortress Gamma hiding behind one of Jupiter's moons. Within minutes, 12 massive defense platforms were fully active and targeting the alien fleet. But the platforms were not the only surprise. Ships began to decloak throughout the solar system, appearing out of nowhere like ghosts becoming solid. The USS Titan materialized first, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even the largest Zephyrian vessel. Its hull was black as space itself, covered in armor that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Captain Beth Sullivan's voice came across all channels, calm and professional. Zephyrian Fleet, this is Captain Sullivan of the Earth Defense. Ship Titan, you are ordered to halt your advance and prepare to be escorted out of the system. The USS Warrior decloaked near Neptune, followed by the USS Guardian appearing from behind Earth's moon. Each ship was larger than anything in the Zephyrian Fleet, and their weapon signatures made the alien sensors scream warnings about massive energy buildups. Commander, Veltar stared at his displays in complete shock. This is impossible. Our sensors showed nothing. How can they have hidden ships this large? Stealth technology, Admiral Rodriguez explained helpfully. We have been working on it for quite some time. Your sensors can only detect what we want them to detect. More ships kept appearing. The USS Thunder, USS Lightning, USS Storm, and USS Hurricane all decloaked in perfect formation around the alien fleet. Within minutes, the 30 Zephyrian warships found themselves surrounded by 47 human vessels, each one larger and more heavily armed than anything they had brought. Ambassador Keth Rand's face had gone pale, his earlier confidence completely gone. This cannot be possible. Your species barely has faster-than-light communication. How can you have built ships like these? Captain Chun smiled for the first time since the aliens had arrived. Ambassador, humans have a saying, it is better to appear weak when you are strong than to appear strong when you are weak. Admiral Rodriguez took control of the conversation again. Commander Veltar, I believe you mentioned something about resistance being pointless. The alien commander was frantically studying his tactical displays, trying to find some weakness in the human formation. But everywhere he looked, he saw ships with weapon systems that his computers could not even fully analyze. How? He whispered. How did you advance so quickly? When we first detected your signals, you had barely reached your own moon. We never stopped advancing, Rodriguez replied. We just learned to do it quietly, While you were listening to our entertainment broadcasts and assuming we were primitive, we were building the most powerful military force this galaxy has ever seen. Captain Morrison's voice came over the communication channel from the USS Liberty. Admiral, the alien fleet is powering down their weapons and requesting permission to withdraw. Permission granted, Captain. Escort them to the system boundary and make sure they understand they are not welcome back without proper authorization. Ambassador Kethran stepped forward, his diplomatic training finally overcoming his shock. Admiral, there has clearly been a misunderstanding. The Confederation did not come here with hostile intentions. Really? Rodriguez pulled up a recording of the conversation between Commander Veltar and his fleet commander. Then perhaps you can explain this discussion about mining rights and using human workers in your industries. The ambassador's face went completely white as he heard his own people's words played back to them. The conversation made it clear that the Zephyrians had come to conquer, not to make friends. He stammered. You thought we were easy prey, Colonel Harper said bluntly. You thought a species with primitive weapons would be grateful for your protection and too weak to resist your takeover. Commander Veltar finally found his voice again. Your ships are impressive, but they are untested. The Confederation has been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know how to use our weapons. Captain Sullivan's voice came back, carrying a hint of amusement. Commander, our weapons are not untested. We have been fighting wars too. We just fight them against each other instead of picking on weaker species. The truth of that statement hit the aliens like a physical blow. Humans had not spent the last 1,000 years in peaceful expansion like the Zephyrians. They had spent it in constant conflict, developing better and better ways to destroy each other. Every weapon system on the human ships had been battle-tested in dozens of wars. We will withdraw, Ambassador Kethran said quietly. But the Confederation will not forget this encounter. Good, Admiral Rodriguez replied. Make sure you tell them that Earth is not interested in being protected, guided, or integrated into anyone's empire. We can take care of ourselves. The alien fleet began to move away from Earth, escorted by Captain Morrison and a squadron of human ships. As they retreated, the massive defense platforms powered down and disappeared back into the asteroid field, becoming invisible rocks once again. But the warships remained visible, patrolling the edges of the solar system like steel sharks in the darkness. The message was clear. Earth was defended, and anyone who came with hostile intentions would face the consequences. The journey to the edge of the solar system took 6 hours. Captain Morrison flew alongside the alien fleet in the USS Liberty, watching as Commander Veltar's ships moved slowly toward the boundary. The other human escort ships maintained perfect formation around them, a silent reminder of Earth's power. Behind them, the massive human warships had returned to their patrol routes, but they remained visible this time. The USS Titan cruised past Jupiter, its black hull catching the light from the distant sun. The USS Warrior took position near Mars, while the USS Guardian settled into orbit around Earth's moon. The message was clear. Earth was no longer hiding its strength. Commander Veltar, Morrison said over the communication channel, you are approaching the system boundary. Please confirm your intention to leave Earth space. There was a long pause before the alien commander responded. His voice sounded tired and defeated. Confirmed, Captain Morrison. The Zephyrian fleet is departing your system. Morrison could hear the shame in the alien's voice. Veltar had come here expecting to intimidate a primitive species, and instead, he was limping home with his tail between his legs. Commander, Morrison added, for what it's worth, your people seemed decent enough once you dropped the superior act. Maybe next time you visit someone new, try treating them as equals from the start. Another long pause. Perhaps you are right, Captain. We have much to think about. Back on New Geneva Station, Ambassador Kethran was preparing for his own departure. Captain Chun watched as the alien diplomatic team packed their equipment, including the gifts they had brought for humanity. "Ambassador," Chun said, "you can leave the medical scanner and the other devices if you want. They might be useful for our doctors to study." Kethran looked up from his packing. "Keep them as a token of our ... corrected understanding. Your people clearly do not need our technology, but perhaps these items can serve as a reminder of this meeting." He paused in his packing and looked directly at Chun. "Captain, may I ask you something?" "Of course. How long has your species possessed such advanced military capabilities?" Chun smiled slightly. "Ambassador, humans have been building better ways to fight wars for thousands of years. We just got really good at hiding what we can do. But your radio signals, your television broadcasts, they showed a species barely exploring their own star system." "Those were civilian activities," Chun explained. "Humans learned long ago to keep military secrets separate from entertainment. What you heard on our broadcasts was real, but it was only part of the story." Ambassador Kethran nodded slowly. "We made assumptions based on incomplete information. A dangerous mistake in diplomacy." "It happens," Chun said generously. "The important thing is that nobody got hurt and both sides learned something." As the alien diplomatic shuttle prepared to leave, Kethran turned back one more time. "Captain." "Chun, what should I tell the Confederation about humanity?" Chun thought for a moment. "Tell them that Earth is interested in peaceful trade and cultural exchange with any species that approaches us with respect. But also tell them that we take our independence very seriously. And if someone comes with hostile intentions..." Chun's smile turned cold. "Tell them that what they saw today was just our defensive capability. They really don't want to see what we can do when we go on the offense." The shuttle departed, leaving Chun alone on the observation deck. She watched it dock with the harmony of stars, and then watched as the entire alien diplomatic mission prepared to leave Earth space. On Luna Station, Admiral Rodriguez was finishing her own reports. The first contact situation had ended without violence, but it had revealed something important about humanity's place in the galaxy. They were not alone, and not everyone out there had friendly intentions. "Admiral," Commander Johnson said, entering her office with a datapad, "we're receiving long-range communications from the alien fleet. They're sending reports back to their home systems. Can we decode them?" "Some of it. Our new translation software is pretty good. They're basically telling their government that Earth is much more advanced than they thought and should be approached with extreme caution." Rodriguez nodded approvingly. "Good. Maybe word will spread and we won't have to go through this again with the next species that shows up. There's something else, Admiral. The aliens are asking permission to send a smaller, purely diplomatic mission in a few months. No escort ships, no military demonstration, just a single ship with actual diplomats." Rodriguez considered this. "Tell them we'll think about it. If they want to come back, they need to understand that Earth sets the rules for contact, not them." Far out at the system boundary, the Zephyrian fleet was preparing to jump to faster-than-light speed. Commander Veltar stood on his bridge, looking back at the solar system that had taught him a painful lesson about making assumptions. "Commander," Officer Nimra said quietly, "the High Council is requesting a full report." Veltar sighed. "Tell them that humanity is not a primitive species suitable for integration into the Confederation. Tell them that Earth possesses advanced military technology and should be treated as a potential equal, not a target for expansion. Sir, they will want to know how we could have been so wrong about human capabilities. Because we believed what we wanted to believe instead of looking at the evidence," Veltar replied. "The humans were broadcasting entertainment signals while building the most advanced military force we've ever encountered. They mastered the art of appearing harmless while being extremely dangerous." He turned to his navigation officer. "Set course for home. And make a note in the ship's log. Never underestimate a species, just because they use kinetic weapons. The humans proved that old technology in the right hands can be just as effective as new technology in the wrong hands. The Zephyrian fleet jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared, leaving the solar system quiet once again. Back on Earth, life began to return to normal. The massive warships returned to their hidden patrol routes. The defense platforms powered down and became invisible rocks again, and the space stations resumed their regular activities. But things were different now. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy, and there was no going back. The secret was out. Earth was not a primitive world waiting to be guided by advanced aliens. Earth was a fortress, defended by people who had spent millennia learning how to fight and how to hide their strength until the right moment. In his final report, Colonel Harper wrote, "The aliens seemed like decent people once they realized they couldn't push us around. Maybe that's the key to dealing with other species. Be strong enough that they have to respect you, but reasonable enough that they want to." Admiral Rodriguez read his report and smiled. It was a good summary of humanity's new position in the galaxy. They were no longer hiding in the shadows of their own solar system. They were standing in the light, ready to meet whatever came next. The stars looked different now. They were no longer an unknown frontier filled with potential threats. They were a neighborhood, and Earth had just introduced itself to the neighbors. Some of those neighbors might be friendly. Others might be hostile. But all of them would know one thing for certain: humanity was not going to be anyone's victim. The galaxy was about to learn that the small blue planet in the Sol system was home to a species that looked peaceful, but fought like demons when threatened. And that was exactly the reputation Admiral Rodriguez wanted Earth to have. She stood at her office window, looking out at the stars, and smiled. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human independence had begun.